Good evening and welcome to another live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BP TV studio. Thanks for watching us tonight on Comcast 7. That's only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and the surrounding area from Nemacolin all the way to Cranberry and Wexford. We appreciate all of you, and thanks for all those likes on Facebook, 6,850 likes. We appreciate you. Can't beat that. We got lots of sports to talk about. Of course, there's always sports to talk about each day. I'm tired about hearing about the championship games. Keep hearing about these calls. Smoking Jim lost a ton, that's all I know. We got some promos here. We'll start with some promos. I don't know if you can adjust that camera, Steve. Promo time, perfect. Olive Oil's Pizzeria sponsors our TV show with a pizza and a hoagie. 412-831-1900 Hillcrest Shopping Center. Thank you, Frank Fanera of Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Great pizza, great hoagie. Just can't beat it. Then we always end each show with Stay Joey Strong. Joey before DIPG, after DIPG with the brain cancer. It's his 4th anniversary that he died before his 9th birthday, January 21st, yesterday. Another sad day, but they've raised over $100,000 and given it to doctors to try to find a cure for DIPG. You can go to the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation and donate whatever you want. They got I think there's a basketball event coming up that they're going to donate money, and they have shirts, T-shirts, and stuff to sell there. So check it out, the BP High School, Bethel Park High School. I'm not sure whether it's Thursday or something this week or the next week, but check it out. It's for the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Next, Bethel Park Historical Society Arts and History Center. They're at 2600 South Park Road. They're a 501c3 also. You can't miss it. It has a big old red T trolley there right out front. They have an event there Friday night. They're inducting like 4 or 5 Bethel Park residents into the Hall of Fame at the basketball game at Friday night at the high school. Then 8:30 to 11, they're having an event at the Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. I think I'll be there, so come on out. I'll talk to you about the Bethel Park Historical Society. See you there. Next we have Dave Cable, always makes a little bit of fun at my expense. Uncle Al wants you for BP TV. You could be like Steve Fisher here, who's now the MVP of BP TV. I want you for BP TV, 412-831-3304. Call, tell them Uncle Al sent you, and you want to help on camera, sound, whatever, even if we're on location, you can help out. So I want you for BP TV. Next, we got the Bethel Park Community Foundation. BPCF.org has money for you from $100 to $5,000. Dan Duff, the president, said they even have more than $5,000 for different groups. So get an application, apply. I'm one of the members on the board. I'm a trustee. We'll vote on what you think your group does for the Bethel Park community. So that'd be great. Come on out at bpcf.org. And then we have a sponsor for What's on Your Mind. There's Zach. I'm going to look at my other camera. You got me there, here. All right, well, I'm just talking about What's on Your Mind, sponsored by Skeets Lewandowski of Skeets Service Station. They're past Trax Farm and Mineral Beach. Can't beat them. It's a red, white, and blue station, and they do all kind of work on anything and everything that runs on gas. Check it out. Give them a call at 724-348-4715. Tell them Al Levine, the Talking Machine, sent you there. They have a buffet on Mondays. Maybe me and Smoking Jim will be there next Monday. You never know. He said he's coming out, but He's been saying that for a year. We're not too sure that he's reliable. Not that he lies, folks. Nobody would ever say my brother from another mother would lie. It's just, it doesn't make sense what he says sometimes. But you'll find out more about that when we ask him. What's on your mind, Smoking Jim Frazier?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green, you got the C. Levine. Hey, a quick correction. We know Steve Fisher can't be Rookie of the Year because Rookie of the Year is Zach Taylor from Gateway.
Yeah.
And he can't be MVP because Devin Shea is the MVP.
Okay.
So maybe we can put him in for the Walter Payton Community Service Award.
We don't have that. We don't have that in Bethel Park. You have to talk to Dave Cable about that. He just made that up, Steve. Sorry.
But
Glad
hey,
that we didn't clarify anything.
you said there's a Hall of Fame. I didn't know there was no Hall of Famers in Bethel Park for
Yeah,
the
there is.
basketball.
All kind of
Armin
sports
Gilliam.
and things. Yeah.
Armin Gilliam, there you go.
The Hammer.
The Hammer. But hey, a little
Yeah.
shout out to a retired coach, Coach Matheny, is it? The football coach from Bethel Park. Congratulations.
25 years.
25 years.
He wants to watch his son play college ball.
A job well done. His son was a heck of an athlete. He did a heck of a job for 25 years, and a lot of people were surprised that he retired. I'm not surprised because when you're in the same division as Gateway, it'll lead to an early retirement. So enjoy your retirement, Coach.
Oh, the disclaimer.
Who needs that? Who needs that headache?
Disclaimer. 25 years, does that qualify as early
Hey,
retirement?
is that the same division that Penn Hills won the state championship in?
Well, same conference, I guess.
Little
Same
technicality,
conference.
Chip. Why are you bringing up some true information?
But hey, what's on my mind?
Yeah, what is on
Excuse
your
me,
mind?
is of course in preseason I predicted that the Rams would go to the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
And the Raiders.
and yeah, I blew that prediction. But after the second week of the season, I said the Chiefs would go and blew that one.
Oh,
But,
that's two.
But hey,
How about the third choice?
if Duke
Patriots.
if Duke beats Pitt by more than 14 tonight, I can get some of my money back I lost this weekend. So go Duke. But hey, the reason I said the Rams would win, and the reason that the obvious penalty, not only was it pass interference, but it was helmet to helmet that wasn't called.
And it was it was targeting a defenseless receiver as well.
Yeah, 3 penalties in one.
That were not called.
And even the defensive back said, my bad. But the reason is they needed a great team in the Los Angeles market. And I said before, the Rams didn't have a salary cap. You know, when you look at just some of the players I wrote down, that's going to be a problem for the Raiders is
You mean the Rams?
Huh?
Raiders
You mean the
rivals.
Rams? You said Raiders. You meant Rams.
Rams for New England. These guys will be problems for the New England Patriots.
Some too.
Is one young Suge Knight. Don't he look like a young Suge Knight? Aaron Donald from near Monroeville. But how about and he's making $135 million. You got Dominic Sue. Those guys, Brady don't like that push up the middle. Those guys will get a push up the middle. How about Marcus Peters, one of the highest defensive backs in football they just got this year? How about Talib, one of the highest paid defensive backs in football? How about Brandon Cooks, a wide receiver they acquired from New Orleans, making $17 million? Todd Gurley, the highest paid running back in the history of the NFL, all on the same team, not counting all the other players. Impossible unless you look the other way for salary cap. The Rams have no salary cap. The Rams is going to be a problem for the New England Patriots. Now let's go to the game quickly that I lost. I predicted the Chiefs will come back in the second half. The problem with Andy Reid is he scripts his first 25 plays. When you got a quarterback like Mahomes, you just let him run loose. This is a guy that throws a no-look pass. He does all this stuff. You can't script plays against. You should know what Belichick's going to do. He ain't going to change his defense much. He'll adjust. So you shouldn't script. They had the ball. They was shut out 14-0 in the first half. I predicted that they would come back and they did come back. And one other thing, the 5'4" fake offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy needs to do one of two things: either be the offensive coordinator up in the booth, or get you one of them step ladders, because he's talking to 6'6" quarterback. He's 5'4". He got his play sheets down there. Looks ridiculous. Get up in the booth, man, little Napoleon. But hey, and lastly, the Super Bowl. I know we'll make our Super Bowl predictions next week, but I lost a lot of money on the Kansas City Chiefs. But, hey, you can't bet against Brady, huh? One of the greatest of all time. Brady has a great opportunity to tie Fran Tarkenton and Jim Kelly for 4 Super Bowl losses.
Fran Tarkenton
Three.
did
Joe
not
Cap,
lose.
Joe Cap. You're too smart for your own good. I thought I could slide one through.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
Good job, Chipper.
Not on my watch.
I thought I was gonna throw my Steve Blast fastball.
You did.
Not past me. Not past me.
You did. In 1974 fastball.
I sat on that fastball.
Good job. And that's what's on my mind.
That looked like Steve Blass in 1974. Didn't get to the plate. Get out of here. Thank you, Smoking Jim Frazier. Chip Hainer, you got to follow that. I know it's unbelievable.
It's hard. It's a tough act to follow, but I'll do it anyhow.
What's on your mind?
First thing that's on my mind. I remember when a certain coach got hired in Pittsburgh, and he went to the Super Bowl his second year. What did my friend here say? He won with Bill Cowher's players. How come he isn't saying Sean McVay is winning with Jeff Fisher's team? Huh? He's the one that drafted that team. He's the one he was the architect behind it. He drafted Garrett Goff. He drafted Todd Gurley. He drafted Aaron Donald. So they brought in some free agents. So Sean should give Jeff Fisher plenty of credit for what you're doing. Next thing, I watched the playoff games this weekend. And I think the NFL has another huge black eye, and I think the referees were 2-0 this weekend. Not only was there the non-call in the New Orleans game, among other calls that were not made, the most egregious being at the end of the game, which literally cost the Saints a chance to run the clock down. They would have been 1st and 10 at the 10-yard line. They could have at least run 3 plays. The Rams would have had to use up their timeouts. They'd have run the clock down to probably under a half a minute. And at worst, they would have had a chip shot for a field goal. They could have potentially scored a touchdown, and the Saints are going to the Super Bowl. So that call was not made, and numerous calls were missed in the Kansas City game. And how does somebody botch a punt and they go to the review booth and they don't see it hit his hand after the Kansas City player runs it in for a touchdown, and they reverse the call? I don't understand how that could happen, and it makes me wonder, being the conspiracy theorist that I am, what was the NFL trying to do? They talk about the integrity of the game. Well, I think the integrity of the game is something that's sorely missing lately. The officiating is abysmal at best. Now, missed calls, the Steelers, I go back to the Immaculate Reception. Calls have been missed in the Steelers' favor. There was the AFC Championship against the Houston Oilers, where there was a play in the end zone. The Steelers benefited from that. But it seems that as time goes on, the calls are getting worse and worse, and we've got replays. And they can't even seem to get the calls right when there's replays. Now, they're talking about revamping this, that maybe pass interference penalties are reviewable. Well, you know what? The call in the Saints game would not have been reviewable because no calls are not reviewable. The only thing that's reviewable is if they would have called the penalty. So if that is the case, then do the referees call everything? And we're looking at 6 or 7 hour games. And is that what the public wants? So changes need to be made. And here's my big question, and I would like this answered. the players, the coaches, the owners, they are required by NFL bylaws that they make themselves available to the press to be interrogated after wins, after losses, after boneheaded plays. Why aren't the refs held to the same standard? I would like to see the referee that didn't call 3 fouls on one play, okay? What were you looking at? And if you didn't see those calls on that play, then you shouldn't be on the field. What kind of accountability is there for the officials? As badly as they botched calls this weekend, I'd have them out in the unemployment line, just like the government employees.
Hey, Machine, before we go to El Levine, the talking machine, can I ask you guys one question?
Yeah.
Nobody mentioned that they're voting for the Baseball Hall of Fame. Is it because baseball's that boring?
No,
No,
that
sorry.
is my trivia segment,
Oh.
and I've got all the facts,
Smoking
Jim.
Jim.
I've
Look
got
at this.
all the facts, my
Look.
friend.
Look what he has
One
there.
guy might get in, huh?
Uh-huh.
He already knows who's in.
I know who's in, and I know who's not.
I hope it ain't a part-time relief pitcher.
Guess what?
We'll find out. Those questions will be
It's a
answered for
teaser
you.
on TV.
Are you kidding me? You don't think that? I got a direct line.
Keep chewing on your pizza. Anything else, Smoking Jim?
No, thank you.
All right, just checking. All right. What's on my mind is some of what you guys were talking about already, but I wanted to bring up Pitt and the excitement at the Peterson
Oakland Zoo.
Center. The
Oakland
Oakland
Zoo.
Zoo's back. It's refreshing to hear they're selling out the games. They're going up against number 2 tonight. I don't believe they have a chance. I don't know what the point spread is, Smoking Jim. What is it?
14.5.
Okay, you need 14, you said.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't bet, don't start. If you are going to bet, do the opposite of Smoking Jim, except tonight with Duke. I believe Duke will win. Pitt has an exciting team, an energized team. They got a Johnson and the other kid. They're great.
Trey McGowan.
Yeah, McGowan's has an S at the end, I noticed.
See that?
He's a good player, and they're always exciting throwing the ball, going up there, and they come right after the big guys. They don't care if you're 7 foot tall. They go after you, and they throw that ball up in there, and they've done pretty well. So I give them a lot of credit. Caples has impressed me already. He feels a little sad because he's going against his former team,
his
he
mentor.
coached, his mentor, all that stuff. But guess what? He's bringing him there to play. So we'll see what happens. It's just exciting in Pittsburgh to have Pitt be a little bit relevant here, and it actually is fun watching their games. I've enjoyed watching their last few games. They're 2-3. Nobody expected them to be 2-3 after 5 games. So we'll see what happens. I don't believe in a miracle against Duke tonight. They're too good of a team. Zion is unbelievable, averaging 21 points a game and I think 9 rebounds a game. Just a dynamic player. And he got another guy on the team, J.J. Barrett, who's just as good. They'll probably be 1-2 in the draft. So watch that game. That's at 9 o'clock tonight. You can have a little pizza at Olive Oil's Pizzeria and go watch the game at 9. And we're going to start when we come back with some fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. Who knows what it'll be?
Hi, I'm Gary. I'm a recruiter for the 2020 census. And I want to talk about an opportunity that only comes along once every 10 years. It's a decennial census. And we're hiring hundreds of people. No testing involved, no resumes. To apply for these jobs, the website is 2020census.gov/jobs. It's great pay, flexible hours. The hours are great. You can work morning, evening, afternoons, whatever suits your schedule. And it's weekly pay, which is a great thing. And also there's paid training, and also we pay from the time you leave the house to the time you get home, along with mileage. Apply right now. Thank you so much. Again, 2020census.gov/jobs. Thank you for your time.
Hey, it's Christine from Bethel Park Library. I want to tell you about a great fundraiser we have going on. You can take home a print of this cute sloth painted by local artist Maria Prasic was inspired by Vivian, the sloth that lives at the National Aviary. The original painting will be housed at the Bethel Park Library forevermore, but you can own a 16 by 20 print for $50. You can purchase it at the Bethel Park Public Library or through the library's website at bethelparklibrary.org.
Sound effect.
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Thanks, Chip Hayner. Thanks, Rookie of the Year, Zach Taylor, and my man Steve Fisher
MVP.
on the one and
MVP.
twos. Devin Shays, the MVP.
He's not here tonight. MVP.
But what's on my mind is I'm going to take people back a little ways. How about the annual Classic Round Ball Classic? I know that brings back memories for some people, and we're going back way back to some of the people that played in it, and I know most of us didn't see some of these guys like a Moses Malone, Simi Hill, Kelvin Murphy. How about Billy Varner? Huh? How about Shaq played in a round ball game? How about B.B. Flannery, a friend of
I
the
met
show?
him.
Duquesne's own.
Duquesne's own. And how about Kobe Bryant played in that? How about Sam Clancy from Fifth Avenue High School played in that?
He was a guest on our show.
That's right. Sam was a guest on our show.
You told me it couldn't be done.
Defensive lineman for the Cleveland Browns.
Him and Rayco Saunders. You nailed it. How about Dominique Wilkins?
The human highlight film.
I had to get a white guy on here. How about Sean Miller? How about Pat Ewing? Huh? Darrell Dap Porter, another friend of the show.
Yeah.
How about Alonzo Mourning? How about Chris Webber played in that game? My man Dwight Collins played in that game. But tonight, the greatest basketball player to ever come to Pittsburgh is coming. 6'7", 285-pound freshman, consensus #1 player overall, picking the NBA. Zion Williamson will be here with the Dukies playing basketball. But if I had the #1 pick in the draft, they're talking about the two guys from Duke going 1 and 2. If I had the #1 pick in the draft, it would be 6'3", 175-pound Jay Moran from Murray State. Best basketball player I've ever seen. And one thing about Zion Williams that I know, he's great this year, but in 4 years he'd be 400 pounds. I don't think he can jump at 400 pounds. And that's what's on my mind, Chubby Cheeks.
He won't play. He'll play this year in college, and he'll go into the NBA
And
next
the
year.
NBA in the 4 years.
And
he'll
if he
be
follows
400
what
pounds.
Scottie Pippen advises him, he
won't
advises him
play
to
at
sit
all.
off the rest
Yeah.
the season.
I
But,
don't like that.
well, you know,
I don't like
that's
that.
the way sports has gone.
Yeah, he reminds me of who's that big, that fat Jamarcus Russell that played at LSU?
Yeah,
Fat quarterback
with
Slav
the
and,
Raiders. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
was
what
lighting up the scoreboards all across stadiums,
yeah,
all
that's
over
what
the
Zion
NFL.
Williams remind me of, a guy that looked like he's going to put on a lot of weight.
No way. He doesn't look that way to me.
And that's the fiction and facts from Smoking Jim's Almanac. Look at his chubby cheeks.
Look at your chubby cheeks. Come on. Look at that, fans. Thank you, Smoking Jim Chubby Cheeks Frazier.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to my trivia segment. And just like Jim brought up earlier, today was the day, January 22nd, 2019, where the Baseball Hall of Fame elected 4 new members. 4, count them.
Jim, that's 4.
Okay, and before we announce who the winners are, they were announced over an hour ago. So a lot of people may know this already. I'm going to keep Jim in suspense for a little bit longer here. Okay. Some of the people that were eligible to be elected into the Hall of Fame this year. Mariano Rivera, closer extraordinaire for the New York Yankees.
Four-time
The
player.
last player in Major League Baseball to wear number 42, Jackie Robinson's number. That was grandfathered in because they did not retire Jackie Robinson's number until 1997. And Mariano had already held that number. They let him wear it until his career was over, and he wore it proudly. Roy Halladay, two-time Cy Young Award-winning pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, as well as the Philadelphia Phillies. Todd Helton, the first baseman from the Colorado Rockies. Andy Pettitte, big left-hander of the Yankees dynasty of the late 90s, early thousands. Lance Berkman, who played a fair portion of his career with the Houston Astros. Now, number one, here are 10 Hall of Fame topics about the ballot this year. One sure thing. Everybody says that Mariano Rivera will get elected. We know that on the next ballot, Yankees closer will get elected into the Hall of Fame. He won't get elected unanimously, they say, because nobody gets elected unanimously. Number two, finally the year for Edgar Martinez. Edgar Martinez came up just short last year, a couple of percentage points, and the majority of his career was spent as a designated hitter. It would be the first time that a player who played most of his career as a designated hitter into the Hall of Fame. Number three, Roy Halladay. Roy Halladay came to an unfortunate end. Not this past winter, the winter before, in an airplane crash. Roy Halladay was one of the most dominating pitchers of the 2000s. He won 2 Cy Young Awards. Young Awards. He won 203 games, struck out more than 2,000 batters.
I'd like to see him get in.
Number four, what happens with Mike Mussina, Curt Schilling? Mike Mussina's statistics, some could argue, would be worthy of the Hall of Fame. Curt Schilling's numbers quite possibly could be worthy of Hall of Fame note, but Curt Schilling hasn't done himself any favors with the things that he said and the number of people that he made upset. Now, you tempered my language. With his comments, and you have to remember, the members of the committee that vote, they have long memories, and some of them carry grudges. So let's keep that in mind. Number five, what about Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, the cheating twins? Oh, last year they had got 54% of the vote.
Pretty good.
They need 75% to get into the Hall. How much closer are they going to get this year? Are they going to get any closer? Interesting question. Todd Helton in the Coors Factory. The Coors Factor, was Todd Helton's numbers inflated by the atmosphere in Coors Field? Larry Walker, another quality player who put up monster numbers in Coors Field, but they were exaggerated numbers because of the altitude. What will happen there? Omar Vizquel, it seems, needs a contentious candidate in this generation's version is Omar Vizquel. Vizquel had almost 2,900 hits in his career. His supporters compare him to Ozzie Smith and Luis Aparicio. You know who Luis was.
No.
Whoa.
Okay. He was a shortstop for the Chicago White Sox. 2 Hall of Famers, but Vizquel has an 82 adjusted OPS, which is well below average. Number 8, one final push for the crime dog, Fred McGriff. Fred McGriff, a quality first base. And any of the players from today's games, which we don't think will get elected into the Hall, players such as Rafael Palmeiro, Mark McGuire, Kenny Lofton, Jorge Posada, Kevin Brown, Bernie Williams, they'll get a look. So now, the 4 people elected to the Hall of Fame, and for the first time in the history of the Hall of Fame,
Barry Bonds?
there is a player who was unanimously elected to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations, number 42, Mariano Rivera, the best closer in the history of baseball.
Four-time player.
Unanimous selection into the Hall of Fame.
I don't believe that.
First ever.
I don't believe it.
It's the truth. Next up, Edgar Martinez, finally is making his way into Cooperstown,
Another part-time player.
followed by the great Roy Halladay, may he rest in peace, posthumously elected into the Hall of Fame. And last but not least, from the Yankees teams of the early 2000s, Mike Mussina was elected into the Hall of Fame. Now, just to give you an idea how the Cheatin' Twins did, because last year they had 54% of the vote, and if I just may check my statistics here, because I like to be factual and I don't want to give Jim any false information.
They got closer.
Barry Bonds got 2.7% closer with 59% of the votes. Roger
Yeah.
Clemens got 2.2% closer with 59.5% of the votes. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, this was their 7th year eligible for the Hall of Fame. They've got 3 years left. And at that staggering pace of 2% a year, they're going to fall miserably short of the Hall of Fame, which they don't belong in anyhow.
Yeah. Thank you, Chip Painter. Smoking Jim, any last word?
Nah, I'm sad. It's a sad day. It's a sad day.
Cheaters didn't. They tried hard enough. They got
Two
paid.
part-time players get
See,
sick.
Oh,
the thing is with Clemens and Bonds was they cheated, and they cheated for financial gain, and they got what they wanted. They got the monetary rewards.
They saved
Now they can
baseball.
spend the rest of their life counting those dollars, but they will not reach immortality in Cooperstown.
I'm thankful they saved baseball. Sosa.
Baseball has been around a long time before anybody ever heard of them.
1867.
And it's going to be
After
around
the
a
strike-
long time
after the
after.
strike,
It would have just
people
taken a
turned their
little
back-
longer.
People turned their back on baseball.
I did not.
You weren't a Mark McGuire fan when he played? We
You
loved
could
it.
tell that. You could tell he was a cheater.
He came up hitting the ball. He was the
He
Bass
did,
brother.
yeah,
Smoking Jim, my dad loved Mark McGuire.
Me too.
And he
With-
goes, "What's with this creatine?" I go, "Dad, it's like
Androstene
steroids."
Dion, yeah.
I go, "He's got the creatine there because he got steroids backing him up."
And Jose Canseco was the one that was shooting him up as a rookie.
And
Subsequently,
like you always say, you're not trying if you're not cheating. So they're cheating,
That's true.
and they can't get in the Hall of Fame.
They cheated
a
and they got rewarded. And okay, you got your monetary reward. Goodbye. We're done with you. That's what they traded immortality for. A couple of bucks.
Barry didn't know what he was taking.
It was clear.
Yeah.
He said it was clear. Mm-hmm. And what company was he buying it from? What? Come on. You act like the glove didn't fit.
But you all said that Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer even before that.
He would have
right?
been, yes.
Yeah.
But you know what? You're judged on the whole of your career, not a couple of years. See, it's your body
You
of
can't
work.
cherry
Jim.
pick,
You
buddy.
can't. You know, you can't have one good year and be Hall of
Were
Fame
they ever
eligible.
suspended for that?
Doesn't matter, Jim. Everybody knows
Guilty until guilty.
that. You know what? You're not
Not
Johnny
proving it-
Cochran.
Not proving it.
You're not Johnny Cochran, Jim. Trust me.
We don't talk, we walk.
Yeah, you're not Johnny. Yeah,
OJ's still looking for that killer. He said he would find him.
yeah.
He found him in the mirror, though.
He's been working tirelessly.
OJ found him in the mirror.
Somebody said the killer died. They know who the
No,
killer
not
is,
yet.
but he passed away.
He looks at him every day when he shaves
He
in
was
the
in a
mirror.
car accident.
What, was he driving a white Bronco?
All right, enough of that. Thanks, Chip Painter. On location, as you know, we've been on hiatus December and January. We'll be back February 11th, second Monday in February. Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 930 Brookline Boulevard. We got guests lined up for the show. Bruno Sammartino's son, Daryl, will be there. Larry Richard from KDKA will be there. Claudio Rosano, CMU head coach of baseball, will be there. Jake Clancher, he's a hockey scout. He's been on our show before. He called me up a week or so ago. He wants to come back and talk some hockey. and he's got some great prospects out there to talk about, 16 years old and younger. So we'll hear that type of stuff. Got a lot of great conversation. You can only imagine with San Martino's son, Larry Richards, going to be on there. He's involved in sports, and he might have a brother-in-law we could talk about. You never know. So we'll cover a few issues there, and Dan Bogan's going to come out. I don't know if I'll have a guest appearance by him for a couple minutes to say hello. We may do that. But we'll have some fun February 11th, 7:30 to 8:30, Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Skip, I know you'll be there. Anybody else that wants to come on out, come on out. We'll have some fun. You see how entertaining it is. And we always have a lot of fun and make you aware of what's going on in the Pittsburgh sports community. So check us out. See you then. We're going to come back and we're going to talk some Penguins.
Hi, I'm Gary. I'm a recruiter for the 2020 census. And I want to talk about an opportunity that only comes along once every 10 years. It's a decennial census. And we're hiring hundreds of people. No testing involved, no resumes. To apply for these jobs, the website is 2020census.gov/jobs. With great pay, flexible hours. The hours are great. You can work morning, evening, afternoons, whatever suits your schedule. And it's weekly pay, which is a great thing. And also there's paid training, and also we pay from the time you leave the house to the time you get home, along with mileage. Apply right now. Thank you so much. Again, 2020census.gov/jobs. Thank you for your time.
One of the things we do at BPTV is encourage our producers to film on location. Not only does shooting on location give our producers the opportunity to take advantage of their subject matter, filming in different locations gives each program its own distinct flavor. This also helps anyone who's flipping through the channels avoid confusion when they turn on BPTV. With around 500 programs produced at BPTV each year, the last thing we want people to think is that we're only broadcasting one program. So, you need to come into BPTV to pitch your TV show, but in terms of where you actually end up taping your show, the sky's the limit.
Hi, Bethel Park. Uncle Al speaking. I'm asking you to come help us behind the scenes at BPTV. We're looking for some proud Bethel Park residents to help us make the shows that you want to watch. For more information, contact Station Director Dave Cable, and we will see you behind the cameras at BPTV. Thanks for not changing that dial. We got some Penguin talk. Penguins were 8-game winning streak. Then they went 4-7 the last 7 games.
No, they were 4-5 after the winning streak, and some of the things that the Penguins were doing during the winning streak was they were not giving up the odd man rushes.
Yes.
They were not giving up shorthanded goals. Subsequently, they fell back into their bad habits. They're getting a little lackadaisical with the puck
They
control
got to reset
in
a
center
little.
ice.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that I think will be the downfall of the Penguins if they expect a challenge for the Cup this year, because you've got a team that's in your conference, not in your division, in your conference, that is lighting the league on fire with the Tampa Bay Lightning. And if you're going to beat that team right there, you have to play 60 minutes of hockey. You can't take a minute off. And subsequently, I think that's going to be the Penguins' downfall. Now, I do believe that there will be another move made, trade-wise, with the Penguins.
Yeah, it's coming.
Before we get in. And I think the person that's going to get moved off this team is Derek Brassard.
They're done.
I think Derek Brassard has been with the Penguins now for a year, and
He's only had 22 points in like 59 games.
he's like a fish out of water right now. They don't know where to put him. They don't know what kind of role he should fill. He just doesn't appear.
He's
appear
not
to be with it.
comfortable. Yeah.
Casey DeSmith has kind of cooled off a little bit.
Yeah.
Matt Murray is doing well, but the goalies can only play as well as the players that play in front of them.
You need some defense.
And if you're giving up odd man rushes and you're giving up shorthanded goals, is that always the fault of the goaltender? And I don't believe that's the case. And these are some of the flaws that keep happening over and over and over. And this is something by this time in the season, you should have a handle on this.
No, they shouldn't. They do have to get a little better again. They got to get. They're one of the few teams, Chip, and you've watched a lot of sports like I have. They turn a switch on and they can just go like crazy.
But
it's rare, and then it wears off.
And the fact
But it's
of the
what you
matter
do
is,
next.
Is you can't rely on that to happen, because what's going to happen is they're going to go and flip the switch, and there's going to be a power shortage. Okay, they have to play with the intensity for 60 minutes, and they'll play 20 minutes of hockey where they'll take complete command of the game, and then the next thing you know, it's like, it's a Jekyll and Hyde kind of a
Yeah.
How'd
kind
they do
of case.
against Las Vegas?
They lost.
Did they?
They lost. They
Where were
lost
you
again.
at on that?
Sure.
Did you bet on Vegas?
I knew they were
Did
playing.
you bet on Vegas?
No.
No.
I didn't. I knew they were playing them. I didn't know how
You
they
knew
did.
they'd win. That's what they do, right? They had your man there in goal.
Yeah. There'll
Uh,
always be a penguin in my eyes.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
You
So-
are a stubborn guy. You know that.
But
You
they
just
say that
hold on.
arena is the best arena in the league. That arena in Vegas.
No, maybe because it's the newest. I mean, the best is always the brightest, the newest, and the shiniest.
I'm
Unless
just going by what the experts say.
Who are they?
and-
Name one of them. Can you tell me one? You read all these experts. Are they down at the sports book? Because your picture's down there.
they know who you are, right, my
They
friend?
do.
They do.
They do. They go, if you know Smoking Jim, you could bet $100 on this.
And you know what? And the one good thing about the sports book down at the Rivers, it's not like when you're betting with Macaroni Tony. You got to put your money up front.
That is true.
Yeah.
See, because with Macaroni Tony, you lose a few bets, you can fall off the face of the earth and have to worry about, don't Luigi coming looking for you, right?
That's true.
No, that makes it a little more difficult. That's why Smoking Jim's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
drinking one bottle of pop. He didn't
Yeah,
even
yeah.
get any sweet treats.
Jim was talking about how successful the sports book is doing down there on the North Shore. It's extremely successful for the house. But what a big surprise. Who would ever think that a casino would have the odds tilted in their favor? Why do you think?
That's why they started them.
Yeah, you're right. The house always wins. Isn't that how it goes?
Well, plus they have something unusual. They got a 30% cut on every bet. That's not too shabby. You get 30% out of every 100. Not too bad. Smoking Jim's only getting 70 on that.
I work too hard for my money to toss it away like that.
Give it
But,
to me, I'll flip it for you.
If you don't bet, don't start. If you do bet, do the opposite. It's Smoking
Jim.
Jim Frazier. He's got a pattern
Jim,
here.
I love you like a brother. Please don't get me wrong. I trust you as far as I can throw you.
Wow, he's pretty heavy. I don't think you're throwing him that far there.
That's all shirt, right, Jim?
Whoa.
That's all shirt.
He doesn't get hot or cold, but he's bundled up for winter. Look at that outfit that he got on. What do you got, a note from the Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, he says.
He explained something for you.
He says owner and co-owner is about the same. Yeah.
No, the owner's on top, see? You know, like the Rooneys own the Steelers, but they have a lot of people that have bought little pieces
Minority
of the ownership.
owners. That's
Yeah,
minority
No, they're
owners. different from a
co-owners.
Well, that
co-owner.
isn't just because
You're a minority owner too.
Yeah, he's
You're a minority owner on that dog that you don't
You know
have.
he's going to twist this, right?
Yeah.
You know. So hey, that's what we're talking about here with the Penguins. Some news coming out of baseball, and I
What do you got?
understand. Now, you know, this is one of the things, and Jim is a journalist by trade, and I'd like to think that he's a journalist of some integrity, you know, because there
He
are
doesn't
some
read.
basics in journalism that you're supposed to check your sources, you're supposed to fact check the information that you're putting out
Strike
there.
two.
And that leads me to
Strike
Twitter.
two.
Anybody with a keyboard can create a Twitter account, can put anything
Strike
out there
three.
that they want. So there was all this buzz on Twitter yesterday that the Pittsburgh Pirates are trying to trade Starling Marte to the Los Angeles Chargers, and that the Pirates were the dark horse candidate to get Manny Machado. And finally, one of baseball's more esteemed writers said that none of that was true. Okay,
It's
the
fake
Pirates are
news.
not trading Starling Marte, and the Pirates are not going to pay. They're not going to pay $275 million for Manny Machado. Now, I heard there was an offer on the table for Machado last week from the White Sox, 6 years, $175 million. Okay, and I've also heard that offer has gone up as high as $275 million. And I think, you know, anybody that would is going to write a check for Manny Machado in that amount, they're going to regret doing that in a big way. If you saw his behavior in the playoffs last year, he's got no respect for the game. He's got no respect for his teammates, nor his opponents. And you know, he is just a train wreck waiting for a place to happen. I personally wouldn't sign him, no matter how good of a shortstop he is.
I like
you know how badly. Of course you do. But personally, I wouldn't. Now that leads us to Bryce Harper.
What's going on with
when and
Harper?
who is Bryce Harper going to sign with? I hear that he was very impressed with the Philadelphia Phillies, and
Nothing happened.
nothing happening. I hear the Texas Rangers are in on him, and the Washington Nationals put a substantial offer on the table for him, like $300 million, and he hasn't accepted that yet. And I just wonder, what are they waiting for?
400 million.
Well, you know,
That's what the rumors are, 400
You know,
million.
if you've seen how franchises were handcuffed with these huge contracts, how the Miami Marlins had to get out from underneath Giancarlo Stanton's $350 million contract. Look what happened with the Yankees and the Alex Rodriguez contract. That set them back a few years. But of course, you know, the Yankees, they print money. You know,
They only get $1 billion in revenue from TV.
yeah. Well, that's the S Network. The
That's not
Yankees-
too shabby.
No,
How
it-
can a contract hurt them? All you got to do is add another 50 cents to a beer or Coke.
No,
And
you
you're
know
right.
what? That's unfortunately
They
that's
did
not
that
where
already.
most of the revenue comes from, Jim.
TV, $1 billion.
Yes. Now, why do you think the Yankees have their own television network?
$1 billion.
Because they don't have to pay ABC, NBC, CBS. They write their own checks. Yeah,
They get the money for advertising.
yeah, they get it all.
All of it.
But
But good idea, Smoking.
it's interesting what's going on and the lack of movement that you're seeing in baseball. This weekend, for anybody that's interested, Pirate Fest.
Whoa.
This Saturday down at PNC Park from 12 to 5 for the regular public,
Nobody's
9 o'clock for the season ticket holders. Yes, I'll be there.
Quit yawning when they're talking Pirates.
Yeah, I'll be
I
down
had a
there.
yawn.
You're going to that in the cold?
Why
It's
not?
warm where they
Why
go.
not, Jim? I mean, I've got a coat.
It's indoors. Chip,
Can
tell
I
them
share
it's
something
indoors.
with you? I've lived in this city my whole life. I've never lived a January in Pittsburgh where it wasn't cold. Okay? I'll live, Jim.
I didn't go out for
I'm
3
gonna run the
days this
bases.
weekend because of the blizzard.
What blizzard?
I'll be
You
running
watch
the
the
bases.
news, that's
What do you
why.
think? You come on down. I'll race you around the base paths.
Wow. You've heard it all,
Here's
folks.
what I'll do. I have a stick with a $100 bill on it. I had Jim running after it.
I don't have my pony league speed anymore. I'm pretty quick at pony league.
What is that, dog and pony?
Can we get any witnesses on that Pony League?
That was a picture.
I haven't heard anybody ever say that they
I thought
played
you were a
baseball
glass of
with
water,
you.
man.
I'm like, by the blue.
Smoking Jim, I've heard guys lie about your age and not know how old you are and played ball with you, football, but not one of them ever said they played baseball with you.
So we're less than 3 weeks away from the pitchers and catchers reporting to
Whoa.
spring training.
Really?
Yes, sir.
It's coming.
Yes, sir. It's coming soon.
You're
February.
the only one talking about that.
Well, because everybody else that does sports talk right now, they are shoveling all this crap on top of the Steelers because of their arrogance, that the Steelers' way of doing everything, that they're full. Now we have to be like the Kansas City Chiefs, because did you hear the Chiefs fired their defensive coordinator? And guess who they're looking to hire? Rex Ryan as their defensive coordinator.
Wow. He
So-
sure threw them under the bus on his talk shows. Yeah.
Well, you know, and you look at it, says you look at the playoff games this weekend, and we all did. And same old Andy Ryan gets you to the big game, comes up about a few inches short, time and time again. Ask the Philadelphia fans.
That's
He
a good
broke their
point,
heart too many
but
times.
For the last 20 years, if it wasn't for the New England Patriots and Brady, the Pittsburgh Steelers and Andy Reid and a lot of other people would have more Super Bowls.
There's
You got to
no
give
question
him his
about it.
due.
You got. Andy Reid is a great coach, but I know he there's a lot of great coaches that never. Marty Schottenheimer, he was
Another
a
great
great
one.
coach, and
Another
he
great
never
one.
could get his team over
win it.
over the hurdle to win it all. You know, but he was a great coach.
Brady,
I mean,
Brady hurt him too.
well, Brady, a lot of people hate Brady, and I don't necessarily hate Tom Brady. I appreciate him for what he is. The thing I hate about Tom Brady is that he never had a bad game against my Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, you just like one game. I want to throw 5 picks. No, what do? I watch Ben
Throw 5.
lead the league in interceptions this year, and he's not the problem with the Steelers, you know?
Yeah, right. Well, can I ask you guys a question?
Sure, please.
Yeah,
Have you
we got an
guys
open
Have you
question.
guys ever seen Gronk drop a pass?
Yes.
Yeah.
He got to be one of the most clutch.
No, I've seen
Ever.
him drop many
No,
passes.
Really?
the most clutch receiver in our lifetime right now, Julian Edelman. That guy comes up big every time they need a big catch and they throw him the ball. He comes up with it, and I just sit there and I shake my
He
head.
wasn't better than Welsh.
Hold it.
Welsh
How about
Walker.
Brady?
Oh yes, he was.
Wait,
Oh yes, he
Brady's
is.
41 years old, right?
42.
42. All right, they had 3 third downs and 10 yards to go.
Amazing.
3 passes in a row. He got that.
Amazing.
No,
What
but
kind of skills are you
I
talking
mean, you
about?
look at. I sit there and I
Amazing.
say this all the time. I watch the
3rd and
Patriots play.
10.
How is it that Julian Edelman gets open every time they need a big play, 3rd down, 4th down, whatever it may be? He is. I mean,
And
I would
tough
put.
as can be.
He's tough as nails. He gets beat
And how
up.
about the pass to him? They're right there.
The
You
only
know?
thing I seen he missed was that botch punt.
Now, speaking of Gronk, other than he was a Woodland Hill Wolverine, I'm sure that you have problems with that.
Yeah.
But I played for George Novak, did he not?
Yeah. 8 catches the senior year, thanks to Novak.
Well, that's about what he's had in both playoff games this year. But I think what you're seeing is that you're seeing the swan song of Gronk.
He's going to become an actor.
But no, because I'm telling you what, the abuse that he's taken on the field, it's starting to show. He's lost a little bit of this. He is not the dominant player that he once was.
Did you see that catch down the sideline to the 5-yard line?
Did you see the blocks
he
that he
can still
made?
make plays. I'm saying that he is not the dominant player he was 3-4 years ago. Okay, which you know what, the one person that no athlete can beat is Father Time.
True.
And
He got
sooner
2
or
more
later,
years.
sooner
He
or
got 2
later, he
more.
gets everybody.
He got 2 more years.
We'll see.
He may be
He's
an
already
actor.
he's what did Chuck Noll used to say? If a player's talking about retirement, he already has. Well,
Except for
Gronk's,
if his name is Roethlisberger.
well, and Gronk has already been talking about that he could
Ooh,
retire
he
after
never
the
told
game.
me that.
Well, yeah. Well, you
talking
don't
about
talk to
being
him
an
because he's a
actor.
Wolverine.
I tell you what, that got to be my fiction and fact next week when I had Gronk on the show.
Wow.
Yeah, when he was in high school playing high school basketball. But,
Wow.
but
What a
yeah.
show that must have been.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Smoking
Man
Jim.
amongst boys, definitely.
That's truly.
No, no
and
question.
he was blocking great the other night too.
Yeah,
He made some great blocks.
A little
So,
bit
you know,
too much blocking.
I think
No, he did fine. He
after
knocked
the,
those guys back.
But I like more catching than blocking.
Hey, he got the runs.
after the mess that they made out of the championship games this past weekend, the interesting thing that I'm going to be paying attention to a week from Sunday, I want to see what the television ratings are, because you've got Los Angeles, and this is something that I never understood. It's the second largest television market in the United States.
Right.
Okay, and for 25 years they did not have a professional football team, and if New York City is capable of sustaining two
Yeah.
professional football teams, well, let's say New Jersey, because neither of them play in New York City. How was it that Los Angeles was not able to support, two
Politics.
teams, and so now they've got two
Politics,
teams,
Chip.
and the Rams started drawing well as the season progressed, and even though the Chargers had probably one of their best seasons in years, they didn't
didn't
draw
get-
well.
yeah.
They couldn't fill a soccer stadium.
Yeah.
So it'll be an interesting matchup. I think one thing that was proven beyond any reasonable doubt to me is that Jared Goff is the real deal. He is a top caliber NFL quarterback. I thought for sure that the Saints were going to win that game. I didn't think Goff had a chance, and they did most of what they did without the help of Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley spent most of the game on the
the bench.
sidelines. And I don't know, was he hurt? I don't know if he's being
Hold it.
disciplined.
No, he said he didn't have it. They
Well-
sat him down.
Yeah, you tiptoeing.
Well, he pulled a Le'Veon Bell. Showed up at the championship, saying, "No, not today, guys."
No, but you got to give the coach credit. He sat him down.
I twitched my
sat him down
My
and-
hamstring. My hamstring.
He sat him down and he didn't play. I mean, I give him credit because he
Maybe
didn't
it's
do well.
because he didn't draft him, huh? That was one of Jeff Fisher's players. I'm just saying.
You're
If it's
reaching.
good for the goose, it's good for the gander, right?
You're
know?
reaching, but no. Hey, can a guy have a bad game?
You know what? Not in today's NFL.
He
You know,
dropped two passes
Yeah,
too.
you have one bad game, and you need to be fired. You need to, regardless of what your accomplishments are up to that point.
Whoa.
That's the world we live in. You get roasted on Twitter. I never will be a party to Twitter. I will never open an account, and it's just.
You don't
If
need
I,
it.
if I can figure it out, I'd be on it. Can't seem to figure out.
I have a Twitter account. I don't even use it.
Can you figure it out?
I find
Yeah.
it redundant.
I don't use it. I have an account.
No,
I
there's
don't
enough.
use it.
There's enough hatred.
They
and
told me I
vitriol out
needed
there.
one. I don't need it. So
Yeah, it's.
they even told me to get an Instagram
It's
account. I have
divisive.
one. Alan Levine, the talking machine. I got 800 some followers. I've posted only 17 photos.
I like that Instagram. Get some good pictures out.
I only posted 17 of them
Yeah,
because I didn't want to overload them like Smoking Jim does with photos.
I see your
5 a
point.
day, 10 a day. Wants to see if all
With
the
all his
sweeties love
honeys.
them.
With all his
The
honeys.
sweeties for Jimmy, they're getting tired of it because they see their picture up 3-4
I
times.
think he's two-timing on him.
8 timing.
Three-timing,
8,
four-timing.
9, 10.
Me and Zach Taylor.
No,
He
don't
just
be-
cut you
Hey.
loose. He had to explain owner
Hey,
and
you know
co-owner
what? That-
again.
That young man is
The
being
women
taught
love
the
him.
right
The women
way.
love Zach.
That young man's being
That
taught the
doesn't-
right way.
That doesn't matter. He explained it to you, but hey, we've diverted a little bit off our regular programming, give you some other insights on what we think about stuff in Pittsburgh.
Pitt, Duke,
Yeah.
coming up here in 1 hour.
Let's
Tip
put it
off.
all in. 1, 2, 3, Duke.
Duke, yeah, there you go.
There's no doubt.
Yeah. You know
How are you
what?
going to go against that? Smoking Jim, you're on the cutting edge. Go chug down another drink there. Well, thanks for watching us. This is Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Chip Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier. We got Steve Fisher, Zach Taylor helping us out. Thanks for watching our show, and stay Joey strong.